With that being said, Jordan, why don't you take it away with Article 18 there?
18, which again kind of ties in. This one I think goes back to Article 3 again in a big way. So everyone has the right to freedom of thought, consciousness and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom either alone or in community with others, and in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. So yeah, it's a it's a more religious focused one, but it's more in terms of the idea of liberty
Mm-hmm.
and like liberty of choice, essentially,
Yeah.
where everyone has that right to. You shouldn't be enslaved to your religion, basically.
Yeah, the degree of philosophy, I'm going to call it, because it
Yeah,
says conscious and religion. Um, the degree of philosophy that you are wanting to take should be that of your own, right? In the sense
yeah,
that if you want to be very religious, all the more power to you. If you don't want to be religious, all the more power to you.
correct. Yeah,
Because again, what your religion is, right? One religion over another, shouldn't really matter as long as those religions are, or the way that you look at those religions are not promoting the infringements on any of these other rights. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean? So, for instance, um, if you have, uh, kind of going back to the Article 16, actually,
yep,
if you have people from two different religions that want to get married, irregardless of what your religion says, if you don't want to uphold that because you want to get married because you've fallen in love with this person, that is your right to do that at the end of the day, right? The amount of religion that you want to take on. Now, at the end of the day, I also
correct.
recognize that if a religion says this is what we do, and if you don't want to do that, then you're not necessarily following that religion. An argument can be made for that, but you still should be allowed to do it, right? The freedom of that thought and the freedom of how you practice, um, your public
Your
and private
Yeah,
life.
and your
Um,
philosophies essentially.
yeah, yeah,
What
no,
do
I think that probably overall covers it. Again,
Yeah,
a lot of these
it's one
ones
of those.
hopefully are
Yeah,
very straightforward, but I apologize if I've already mentioned this. I'm sure I have, but Jordan and I have been talking about this for quite some time, so I lose track of things. But um, what we really want you to get from all these different articles that we've kind of pulled out from the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights is that we've we've decided as nations or member states to codify these things.
yeah,
Um, some things that we, depending on where you live, are a no brainer, and for other countries in this world, they definitely are not
yeah.
enforced. But the importance really comes back to not actually looking at the individual example, uh,
But
but
just
the fact that these articles exist. Yeah.
yes,
And
yeah,
that they are outlined so plainly that, hey, if you are in violation of this, right, this idea of the everyone has the right to freedom of thought, consciousness, and religion, right? So if you control someone's religion, or if you control their philosophy, or how they're able to think, right,
yeah.
um,
It's that
that,
idea of control, which
yeah, you don't even need the example. Just know that if those things are happening in this world, that's in blatant disregard and objection towards the human rights that we've laid out as
yeah,
members of the United Nations. Was there anything else that you wanted to share about that, or am I safe to go to Article 20?
yeah. We're safe to move on. I think that was a
All
very good
right.
point because it was to keep the idea in mind that don't need to go into. Just don't focus on the examples as much
Yeah,
as focus on
yeah.
the idea
I
that
mean, obviously, we're trying to give
they're
some
actually
examples for things.
these are codified rules that all
Yeah,
193 countries have agreed on, and
e-
you don't need to look too far to know that the majority of those countries don't. enshrine these,
Yes.
or at
Or
least
even you can
enforce
look
them.
at it in the past, I guess the past 70 years, right? That at one time or another, these things, like even if, like, obviously we've talked about like Canada as an example, maybe Canada isn't violating these things anytime like recently,
Yeah.
relatively speaking, but we still are guilty of some of this stuff, right?
Well,
We're not
it's
better
the
than
idea that,
anyone
yeah,
else
the fact
in
that
that
to this
sense.
day that they're still being broken left, right, and center in extreme
Yes.
cases all around the
Yes,
world.
especially around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.